Okay, good morning, everyone. Welcome to this virtual presentation presented by Tucson Audubon. This is the second in a two-part eBird series. This is eBird 102. If you missed eBird 101, you can check it out by going to our YouTube channel. It'll be there, as well as this will be there later this afternoon. So you can always go back and check them out there. Our presenter for today is Holly Kleindienst. Holly, as we learned on Tuesday, as well as being a field trip leader extraordinaire for Tucson Audubon, she had a fulfilling career in the U.S. Forest Service, where she was a wildland firefighter and fire manager. She comes from a family of birders and outdoor enthusiasts. She is a lifelong backyard birder and outdoor recreationist. Most every morning, she is out walking and birding. She is building her county list, her life list, and her year list. And also she birds wherever her travels will take her, which she just went to Hawaii. And oftentimes she likes to go to the Caribbean, where she will go scuba diving with her husband, George. And they also like to keep fish lists while they're doing that. So I think that's pretty cool. And besides leading birding field trips for various organizations like Tucson Audubon, she also participates in the IBA as well as the Christmas bird count. Holly is a great fan of eBird, as we're going to find out. And she is always willing to share how the use of these technologies has enhanced her birding experience and how it can help yours too. So with that, again, thank you all for being here, and I'm going to turn it over to Holly.
Well, hello, everyone. I see a lot of familiar names from our eBird 101, where we focused on submitting checklists to eBird. And today we're going to move away from submitting checklists to looking at data from eBird to find the birds that we want to see in different parts of the world. So eBird, again, is a database that is maintained by the Cornell Lab of Ornithology. It's housed under a website. You can access it from a website called eBird. And we, as birders, are contributing to the largest citizen science project on Earth by submitting our eBird, our checklist to eBird. And in return for all of that data that's used by researchers and conservationists, we get to use the data too. We get to track our personal lists of birds, and we also get access to all the other data from all the other people so that we can find the birds that we want to see. So today is all fun. We're going to go ahead and jump right into the eBird website. So I'm going to go ahead and close the chat for me. I need to get my screen open so I can see the rest of the screen. And Donito will be monitoring the chat menu, and he'll interrupt me if needed. Feel free to interrupt me. I get tired of just listening to myself drone on looking at the computer. So go ahead and put your questions in the chat if you want me to go over something again, or if you have a related question. We don't have to do things in any particular order today. So without further ado, let us jump into the eBird website. I am sharing my screen. It should be available for you all shortly.
You're good. We can see it, Holly.
Okay, so here we are on the eBird website. So if you went out into the field and you kept a paper list of the birds that you saw, and you had the duration and number of people and where you were, you could go in here to the Submit tab on eBird and submit your checklist. Of course, I highly recommend that instead of using the Submit tab on the website, that you log your birds live while you're in the field using the eBird app on your cellular phone. So that's what we covered last Tuesday. Today, we're going to go in here and we're going to focus our time here on the Explore tab. And this is going to be a lot of fun. So here we go. Let's jump in. Okay, so we're basically going to work our way from the top of this page down to the bottom, and it looks kind of mundane here, but wait till you see the stuff that we get to find in here. Here, the Explore Species here at the top is basically a bird guide. If there's a bird you're wanting to find out more about, you can go ahead and just type the name in right here. I saw a couple of birds listed. Let's go ahead and put in elegant trogon. I know somebody was hoping to see that in the Sierra Vista area soon. And bingo, up comes this very nice summary of elegant trogon. It's got a description of how to ID it. It's got a bunch of photos. You can click on the photos and you can start going through the different photos of the bird. This is a male, this is a female. Really a spectacular bird, looks like a cross between a pigeon and a parrot in a jazzy Christmas sweater. One of the birds that's really popular amongst people coming to the Southeast Birding Festival, which is next week, Southeast Arizona Birding Festival. Here you can see I've managed to see 7 of them. I've got 5 photos. I have not taken any audio. And here's a bunch of photos, and you could click right here and see view all, and you can bring up all kinds of photos of elegant trogons. This one I can tell you is right there in the pyracantha bush at Madera Picnic area. So this is one of our local birds right there. Okay, so that's what you can do with the Explore Species tab. It's basically like a mini bird guide when you know what bird you want to look at. Here is the Explore regions, and I'm going to start here with Pima County, just because we're doing this workshop in association with the Southeast Arizona Birding Festival that's happening next week. And Pima is one of the 3 counties where the field trips go. So if any of you are coming here for the field trips, you can go right here to Explore Regions and click on Pima County. And here you can see why we have a festival here. When you consider there's about 640 some, well, probably about 700 and some breeding birds, including Hawaii, in the American Birding Association area. 480 of those have been seen here in Arizona at one point, or in Pima County at one point or time. And then it starts right here with the most recent sightings. So we can see some anonymous eBirder saw some white-winged doves, mourning doves, Harris's hawks. So you can scroll down here pretty quickly and see what has been seen recently. Today is August 3rd. You can see all of these birds. Let's see how many birds have been seen in the past 3 days. Let's see how many birds have been seen since August 1st. Every one of these is a different species. Keep scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. Here's August 1st. Okay, so since August 1st, 174 species have been seen in Pima County. And you can actually see where they've been seen. If you click here, this is going to take you back to the Explore tab and show you to the Explore Species and show you what a northern bibulus terrannual looks like. If you click on one of these middle ones here, like, so here we are looking at this burrowing owl. If you click on the date, it will bring you to the checklist. And so you can see this person was at the Marana Wastewater Reclamation Facility, which is in the northwest side of Tucson. They saw 3 species, including 10 burrowing owls. Okay. Also, while you're here, you can look and you can see somebody saw a lark bunting on the 30th. The name is Lori Ireland. And if you wanted to find out more about who this Lori Ireland was, she may, because it's highlighted in blue, she's added something to her profile. There's a picture of her. You might recognize her when you're out in the field, and you can find out a little bit more about Lori. The other thing I really like on this Explore region, here we are exploring Pima County again. Over here in the right-hand column, you can see the most recently posted photos for Pima County. And then here you can see who the most recent people to submit checklists are. All of these are today. Some places where you go, there may not have been anybody who's posted for 10 days. And so if you're there birding for 3 or 4 days, it's kind of fun to be able to fill up all the recent visits and be the top birder for the month in that area. Here you can see who the top birders in Pima County are. Molly Pollock, who lives here in town, has seen 438 species. Jim and Cynthia Krakowski have managed to keep their numbers the same at 394. I don't see you on this list, Danito. You're not in there yet. And then I could actually click here on me and see where I rate in Pima County. I'm not doing very good here. I've only got 318 species, which is a good number of birds for a county, trust me, but there's just some really, there's some full-time, all day, everyday birders here in this county. There's just no way to compete unless it's your whole life. Okay, so that was the Explore Region tab. There's some other cool things about this that I want to show you though too. So we looked at what's over here on the right-hand side of the screen, but let's look at the things over here on the left-hand side of the screen. At the top, we have this illustrated checklist. If any of you are Merlin users on your phone, this is going to look kind of similar, but this is going to be specific to Pima County. So I'm going to see if I'm spinning up here. So it's pulling it in. It's got photos associated with it, so it takes a second. Okay, so here is the illustrated checklist for Pima County for the 480 species. So it's basically like an online bird guide. And these photos that are given here were all taken in Pima County. So, for example, black-bellied whistling duck. If you're coming here this month, it's going to be this week here in August. It's going to be this week here in August. You can see that you have a good chance of seeing black-bellied whistling duck in August. As you scroll down, fulvous whistling duck, you can see that on this bar chart, it's not a normal bird here. But if you wanted to see a picture of one that was seen here, there it is. A lot of these have recordings to go with them. Fun picture of a wood duck. If you wanted to look at this without all the photos of the birds, you can look at this. You can look at over here on the left-hand side, you can click on bar charts. And this gives you a more simplified view of which birds here we are in August. The festival is the second week in August. You can just go right down this column and get a really quick look at what you can expect to see. As you can see, the ducks aren't present here. If you want to see our ducks, you need to come in the wintertime. So this is a really good way. Here's a Gambel's quail. You have a darn good chance of seeing a Gambel's quail while you're here. Rock pigeon, ditto. White-winged doves, you can see they slack off in the wintertime, and then in the peak of the summer, they overtake all of our bird feeders, and then they slack off again in the wintertime. So that's bar charts. We're waiting here. Many of these other things we're going to be accessing through a different link. And you're going to see that all of the links on the Explore tab are kind of interrelated. So right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go right back to the Explore tab. And you can see right here, we had gone in, we put in Pima County. And from there were side links where we could look at bar charts and we could go to species and whatnot. Okay, we were just talking about, let's start exploring some of these here. We were just talking as people were logging in about the rosy-faced lovebird, which is considered an escape bird here in the Tucson area. Let's go in to the species maps link and find out where rosy-faced lovebirds have been seen here in Pima County. So I'm going to type in rosy faced. I can click on rosy faced lovebird. From here, I can either start scrolling in slowly to the area I'm interested in, or I can go over here to the right. I can type in Pima, and I have to keep moving some screens here. Pima County. And that's going to zoom in for me. So here we are in the Tucson area. And to see where individual sightings are, you need to go and click in and zoom in further. So I'm going to keep zooming in. And we'll see where birds have been seen here. Now we're starting to look at individual points where birds have been seen. Down here over on the right is a nice little legend. So any of these that are red are birds that have been seen in the last 30 days. Any of these that are in blue are 30 days or older. And look, we have one sighting in the past 30 days. It's right here. We can go ahead and click on that point. And here's a claim to fame. There we are, Holly Kleindienst. I have a photo to go with it. We can click right here and actually look at the checklist of birds that we're seeing. This is the checklist that we looked at on Tuesday. And we can see the photos of the bird that were taken then. Okay, now that I'm back here, we can look at other sightings. These ones that have the little flame in them are designated hotspots. The other ones are personal locations that other individuals have submitted a checklist for. So here's a checklist right here. Let's see what this place is. This is Woodland Road in Tucson. This is a road that takes off of Tanque Verde Road, and here they were seen in 2016. So some of these are really old sightings. Come over here, look downtown Tucson, 2018. Reed Park, 2006. So a lot of these are really old. So we can see we probably don't really have a sustained population anywhere close because a lot of these are really old. Now I know if we zoom in a little bit, I hadn't really looked too much at rosy-faced leopard right where we are. There's another one. If we get in really, really close, there's this other little blue dot right here. Let's click on that one. And that's our house. In 2023, we had them in our yard. 2023 does not seem right. Ah, yes, here's our neighborhood bird. Yeah. There's still one more here. Anyway, so that's how you can explore species. Does anybody have any questions about the explore species tab? I know there were a couple other birds. Somebody wanted to see a mountain plover. So let's go through this one more time and let's look at where you can find mountain plovers in our area and when.
Probably if you want to, I know Diana was saying she was going to the Pinacate Mountains. And so that's where she was wanting to try to find that mountain plover. So I don't know if you can dial that up.
I'll tell you what, can you jump into Google and find out what county that's in?
You bet.
So this time I'm just gonna start zooming in for mountain plover in our area.
Actually, this is Diana. The Pima County is across the border in Mexico,
Okay,
volcanic field. And I did see a mountain plover there once in Cerro Colorado, big caldera, but haven't seen it since.
gotcha. So we can see mountain plovers up here on the out here in this area in some agriculture where they have the sod farms. That's probably the easiest place to see them around here. That's in Pinal County. And they're a winter bird for us. Marana Pecan Grove, that was in 1996. Santa Cruz Sunland Gin Pierce Road, 2010. And then we can go down here and we can look at the ones that are south of the border. Let me zoom out just a little bit.
It's closer to the coast.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, Holly, the map I was looking at, it shows it basically straight north of Puerto Penasco.
Oh, okay.
Probably going to be there. Yep.
(2020, 2015). Ah, yeah, there it is. El Piñacate. And not too many sightings there. Let's zoom into this other little purple area, see what's down in here and see when the most recent one is. 1995. So probably not the best place to go to make a trip to see specifically mountain plover. So another way to use the species map. Okay, let's go in through another direction here. We're back here on the Explore tab. Let's go to search photos and sounds. So this is really handy, especially if you're looking at birds that are hard to identify. I use this to look for similar birds in my area. For example, a female blue-throated mountain gem, which is a hummingbird, is easily confused with a female Rivelli's hummingbird. So I can go down in here to begin with and just put in blue-throated. And it's going to bring up images of these from the entire database. Here it's loading up here. They're going to come up pretty soon. Here's a bunch of great pictures of blue-throated mountain gems. A lot of them are beautiful males that they've caught the light just right. Some of them are in more typical, where the blue is not reflecting and you just see the gray of the feathers. Okay, so now let's narrow down this search. We're going to go here to more filters.
Hey,
and
Holly.
Yeah.
Sorry, real quick. So actually, Tim and Jean were asking specifically about the blue-throated mountain gem, and they're going to be in Cave Creek. So if we can focus on that, that'll help them.
Okay. Cave Creek is in Maricopa County?
No, it's in
Maricopa.
Should be Maricopa. Yeah. Okay. So here we're gonna narrow down to female mountain gems. And we can click out here, we can say done. And now we only have pictures of female blue-throated mountain gems. And one of the things you're looking for are these big white patches in the tail feathers. Now we can narrow it down even more and only look at pictures of blue-throated mountain gem in Maricopa County. No pictures taken. 0 results for female. Let's take female out and see what comes up.
Actually, it's in Cochise County.
That would explain it. Let's add in our, here we have specific to Cochise County birds. And then we can narrow it down even more and add in our female again and only look at female birds. So if you've taken a photo of a female hummingbird and you're trying to figure out whether it is indeed a Riveles or a Blue-throated Mountain Gem, you can come in here to these confirmed photos and compare your birds to the birds in these photos. Very handy. The other way that the Explore photos comes in really handy is I told you that I stopped keeping any of my bird photos that are over a year old, and I just let eBird hold on to them. So one of the things you can do in here is come up only with your own photos. So if you click right here on contributor, I can go in and I can put my name. And here are all of my photos, all in one place. If I wanted to use this photo for something again, and I don't have it anymore on my computer, I can go here. I can click on Macaulay Library, which is the name of the server that Cornell University has to house photos. And when I get in here, I can see I can download the original picture. Now let's go back and do that again. And I want to show you that just to show you that your photos are secure. Oops. I'm going to go into search photos and sounds. Donita, do you have any photos in eBird? Well, let's just go with my husband.
Yeah, mine aren't great.
Here are the photos that he's taken. If I wanted to download one of these, I come here to Macaulay Library, you will see that the download picture option is not available. So there's no way that I can download this picture. The only way I could get this picture is I could do like a screenshot of it, you know? That's the only way I could do it, and it's gonna be a really low resolution picture. So. So, eBird, a great place to store your bird photos. Okay. We saw how we could get to bar charts from when we explored a region. We've got another person who's going to Ecuador. Let's go in here and see if we can pull up Ecuador and pull up bar charts for Ecuador. And let's select the entire region. We'll hit continue. Ecuador's got a lot of birds and a lot of bird sightings, so we have to wait for a minute. And now you have a nice list that you could print so that you had a list of the birds and when they're available to be seen in Ecuador. And the list goes on and on and on and on and on. So many birds in South America. Look how many. So in North America, we've got, 700, 800 birds normally in a year, and 150 of those are vagrants. And here they've got 1694. Amazing diversity. I'm jealous of whoever's taking the trip to Ecuador. You can see here these ones with the little star. Those are exotic species or domestic species that you can go ahead and log while you're there. This one is a different status. Anyway, so that's the Explore bar charts.
Holly, I've got a question that I think will fit in nicely right here, if you don't mind.
You bet.
So Kathy is asking, can you search for a species seen within a specific time period, for example, within the last 7 days?
Yes, indeed. Let's go to species maps. And let's pick up black naughty. And here you can go into the time frame right here. You can click this and you can specify a specific time frame. So you could say current year, and you could even further narrow that down to August to August. Set date range. We're going to click that. Boy, that's a tricky bird to find right now. Where are they? Let's try a different bird for that time period. Okay. Here's where they can be seen in August of the current year. Then again, if you want to see individual sightings, you can zoom way in and you can get into individual sightings. And these ones, since we put it all for the current year, they should all be red once we get in there. Red, red. All of them seen in the past 30 days. Okay. Moving down the list, I don't know how many of you all are listers, but I love listing birds for my county. I've enjoyed that for many years. You can select a target species. You can get a target species alert for the area that you're interested in. I am headed to Idaho at the end of this month to visit my stepdaughter and our grandkids. So I'm going to go here to target species. They are in northern Idaho in Bonner County. And I'm interested in the birds that I could see in August that I have not seen. And I'm interested in them for my world life list. I want to know what birds I can see when I go to visit them in August that I've never seen any place ever. I'm going to hit show target species. And here's a list of the birds that I could see there. Chestnut-backed chickadee has been eluding me on trips to Idaho. That's still my #1 bird to see. And you can see that it has been seen on 27.5% of the checklist for Bonner County. Varied thrush is another bird that I could possibly see in August, but it's only seen on 1.6. Then once you start getting below the 1% range, you realize you're dealing with rare birds. And then by the time you get down into this 0.3 range, you're dealing with super rarities. Okay, so varied thrush is another bird I can see. So here's check-nosed-back chickadee for August. Let's look at a map of specific locations I could go to see them. I'm going to click here on map. Here we are in Bonner County in northern Idaho. There have been 2 recent sightings. I'm going to go ahead and click on those and see where they are. The Schweitzer Resort front side. One was seen by a certain Aaron Opelt. I can look at his checklist and we can see what else he saw. He saw quite a few birds there. Bo Swift, Calliope hummingbird. Including the 4 chestnut-back chickadee. We want to look at a picture of a chestnut-back chickadee and just click on it. It brings you to that species page. We can see what a cutie this is. I'm going to get out of his checklist. Let's see where else I could go. Here's a personal sighting. This might be where somebody, it looks like this is where this Jeanette Schandelmeyer lives. She saw 3 of them on August 2nd, so just yesterday. She saw 6 the day before. Oh, it'd be nice to come and visit her bird feeders, eh? Okay, let's get back into eBird. Sorry, I clicked one too many times. So that was the example of the target species. Then there's also alerts. When you're in target species, let's go ahead and do another one just so that you understand how this works. We're going to go to the same county again. And I could select year round. And we could look and see how many birds there are in Bonner County that I have never seen for my Bonner County life list. So I may have seen them other places. So before I had gone into world, this time we're going to go into birds that I have not seen for Bonner County. So there should be a lot of birds that I've seen outside of Bonner County, Idaho, that show up on this list. So now I can show the target species. And this is year round, so they may not be around in August. And so we can see now I've gone up from, a handful of birds that I could possibly see, including some super rarities, to 233 different species that I've never seen in Bonner County, Idaho. I may have seen them elsewhere in the US, but I haven't seen them there. The other thing you can do is see if your interest is in rare birds. We can go here to alerts. I have 3 alerts set up, and we'll look at how those come to me in my mail, but let's look at how to set up alerts. So let's go ahead and pick, somebody was going to the Dry Tortugas in Florida. I don't know the county on that offhand. Sierra Vista is in Cochise County. Let's go to Cochise County. So what we can do here is we can just go and then look at the rare birds that have been seen here. So just by clicking view, American widgeon doesn't seem like a rare bird, but it's really rare for this time of year. Plain-capped starthroat is a occasional sighting here on the US side of the border. Bunch of plain-capped starthroat sightings there in Cochise County. Lucifer hummingbird. Again, any one of these, we could go and look, click on this, and see the checklist, the full checklist. Lucifer hummingbirds. So plenty of rare birds have been seen there. The other thing that you can do is subscribe to the alert. So let's show how to do that. I'll go ahead and sign up for some alerts for Bonner County, where I'm going to be visiting. So first, let's put in a Bonner County. There's Bonner, Idaho, and I'm going to subscribe. Okay, now you can see I have a rare bird alert coming to me daily for Bonner County. Okay. Let's set up another alert. Let's set up a needs alert for Bonner County. If I wanted to only see the birds that I haven't seen this year, I would click here. If you're doing a year list for the county that you live in, this is what you would want to do. If you're doing it for your life list, don't count this. So I can hit subscribe, and now daily I will get a list of birds that have been seen in Bonner County that I have not seen for my list. Let's look at what these look like when you get them. So I'm going to open a new tab here. I'm going to go into my mail, and we can look at what the alerts look like when you get them in your mail. Here are a couple of Pima County ones. So here you can see this one is my needs alert for Pima County. This is for my life list. And so there's Bluethroated Mountain Gem. They're seeing them up on Mount Lemmon. I need to get up there and see one. I've only seen them in Santa Cruz County. And short-tailed hawk, which is a rare visitor from Central America, has also been seen. So let's go down through all of these sightings, making me feel like a slacker birder of Bluethroated Mountain Gem, and look at this short-tailed hawk. Here's the checklist, and here's a link to where it was seen. So he saw it on Mount Lemmon at Incinerated Ridge, which is the designated hotspot. I can look at his checklist. He does not have a photo, so I'm going to be skeptical. No, I'm not going to be skeptical. I'm just kidding. Notably short tail, striated black and white. So the other thing you can do for this, we'll go back and we'll take a further look at this sighting here in a little bit. So when it shows up here on the list, you don't know whether it's confirmed or not. So here you can see this Bluethroated Mountain Gem. The eBird reviewers for the county have looked at this sighting and they have said, yep, they saw Bluethroated Mountain Gem. We get down here to this short-tailed hawk. This is not a confirmed sighting. So if you're going to be chasing birds and driving a long ways, you want to be a little bit more cautious when you go chase the ones that have been unconfirmed, because it may or not have been seen. All the rest of these you can see were confirmed. Let's go back to my inbox. Here's a needs alert daily for Pima County. These are birds that I have not seen this year. And this list is so long because I haven't been doing daily birding and getting out very far from my house to go see birds. So this list is extremely extensive. Here, this one, you can see it has a photo. I could go here to the checklist and I can see their photo of the wild turkey. There's their nice band-tailed pigeons. Let's take a nice look at their band-tailed pigeons. So that is what that's what the needs alerts look like when you get them. Now, if you were really serious about a year list for a county, the ones that you need and the rare birds, you need to find out about them within hours, because a lot of these birds, they're seen and then they're gone again. So you can change this from daily to hourly. And then every hour eBird will send you a list of the birds that you need for your year list for Pima County, or you could change for your rare birds so that you know within an hour if a rare bird has been sighted. Now, when you get tired of getting all these emails, it's as easy as just coming in here and unsubscribing. You could subscribe and unsubscribe as many times as you want. There, now I'm no longer getting any emails from eBird on a regular basis. As easy as that. Have we got questions?
Yeah, I've got a question.
Okay.
So Sue is brand new to Tucson, so I want to welcome her. She's going to go out to Sweetwater wetlands. So instead of looking for a specific species, if you're going to be going to a specific area, how do we find out what we can expect to see there?
Okay. So I do this a lot, especially when I'm like going to the Caribbean. I'll go in here and I'll go to the explore hotspots. Let's do that. Now, you can either just go in on the map and zoom into the area that you're interested in.
Always the excitement, it's all these storms and stuff, even though it's not none of these ones we have, are exciting.
So here you can see the hot spots. You can see what a highly birded area this is. There are so many hot spots in our area. And the way when I'm going someplace new to figure out the best places to go, because you usually have a limited amount of time to go places, over here on the right-hand side, you can see this scale over here. This spot right here has seen over 500 species. This one is 400 to 450. So I think this one is in the 300, 400 range. Sure enough, that's Sweetwater wetlands with 314 species. Down here, we've got another one, Patagonia Lake State Park, top place in Arizona for birds. Over here, we've got another one, San Pedro House. Over here, we have another one, Cochise Lake. So if you needed to narrow it down to the best places to see the most species of birds, that's a good way to start. We can keep zooming in, go a little bit closer. Here, this looks like another good one. I mean, 250 some species, that's a pretty good number. Avra Valley Water Treatment Plant. Okay, if we wanted to look at this one specifically, let's go ahead and look at Sweetwater wetlands and get an idea of what we can see there. There's a brief overview, 314 species, a highly birded place with almost 30,000 checklists submitted. That's a crazy number. You could quickly look at bar charts for Sweetwater. Gotta wait for it to load. It's pulling data from the server from 1900 to current time. It's got to go through all 29,000 checklists and compile the data. Maybe that wasn't a good idea, clicking on that.
Hey, while we're waiting for that to load, Karen just asked a question and says, if you see a rare bird and it is confirmed through eBird, does it automatically go to the rare bird alert?
Yes. Even if it's unconfirmed, it goes to the rare bird alert. All rare birds go to the rare bird alert, confirmed and unconfirmed. So if you get a message back from your eBird reviewer about a rare bird and they're telling you, no, that wasn't a this, it's a this, or suggesting that it might be something else, you want to respond quickly. This is taking a long time just because there's a lot of data there, but you can pull up a bar chart. I'm going to go ahead and see if I can reset this. There we go. We're going to cheat this time. We're going to go right to Sweetwater. You can see high counts, and then you can go here and you can go to view details and see what was seen recently. Again, you can pull up the illustrated checklist. You can pull up bar charts from here. You can pull up a printable checklist, which is something I've done before, but it includes all the rare birds. Anyway, here you can see the most recent sightings. So when I'm going someplace new, I like to go through and see like what's been seen in the past week or so, and look at the number of birds that you could see. Just so many birds. You can see who's been there recently. You can see Molly Pollock is also the top birder here. So that's a great way to explore some place that you're headed to that you haven't been to yet. Okay, it is 11:55, and I'm gonna go ahead and stop sharing my screen and get into chat. This is a good time if you need to go get a drink of water or go pee-pee, or if you have any questions, go ahead and pop on and we can chat for a minute or two. I'll take a look at the chat list.
Hey, this might be a good time to ask this question just kind of to the group. Sully and his wife are going to be going to Belize in February of next year. And they were just curious if anybody on the chat has been to Belize. Just we're looking for kind of recommendations, not only of where to go, but where not to go. And his email is in the chat. But it's also, if you just want, it's tony.sullivan5@aol.com. So if any of y'all have any suggestions or tips for Sully and his wife, I know they'd greatly appreciate it.
I'll have to edit out that little segment for the YouTube.
Who knows, maybe we'll get a broader audience from the YouTube and he'll get random suggestions from people.
Sully will get lots of audience. Oh yeah, Belize, here we go. Great, that's gonna be a great trip.
You know what, Sue, let me check on that real quick while we're in a break, about the free presentations from the festival. Let me check on that real quick.
Did anybody try submitting an eBird checklist last week, this week, on Wednesday or Tuesday? Oh! Nobody did their homework. So Jenny, what you really need to put in is the name of your county. If you just put in Elgin, it's not going to put anything, pull up anything. Or let me show you how that works. I'll go ahead and share my screen. So if you're going to explore a region, like if I put in Tucson, nothing's going to come up. But if I put in the county, it comes up. So the best way in the continental United States is to search by your county or parish. So once I put in Pima County, then I immediately get a list of the birds that are likely for that area. Oh, great, Kim. I'm glad this was helpful for you to get a review this way.
Okay, so I'm back. I believe Sue asked the question about the recordings. Unfortunately, we are not set up to record and get those uploaded to YouTube right now. And one of the issues with that is the consent. If y'all remember at the beginning of this, I informed everyone that it was all going to be recorded, and we have issues doing that at the festival. And so it's kind of one of the issues there.
As you guys can see, we're getting down to the bottom of the page, but there's some really fun things down here, especially this one. So Stay tuned. There's some fun stuff here. I think I'm going to go ahead and get going again, Donito. So if you are interested in being a competitive birder, if you want some inspiration and an excuse to get out and go birding more, observing the top 100 in a specific area is a great way to inspire yourself to go out. So here's the top 100 list. So we can enter any region that we want to. I'm going to go ahead and use Pima County again, here where I am located. And we are looking at Pima County for the year 2023. Let's see who the most active birders are in Pima County this year. As usual, Brian Nicholas is heading up the top of the list. He's seen 307 species. My best year here in Pima County when I went all out for the whole year was 305 species. So that's an incredible number. We've got a gentleman named John Curd who's making quite a showing. Sharon Goldwasser is doing very well at 248 species. And I can keep scrolling down, and I can find where I am, and I'm way down out of the top 100 for this year. You can also look and see who are the birders that are tops for the entire eBird record. I'm going to have to click show top 100 again. And there's Molly Pollock at the top of the list with 438 species for Pima County. Now, there are other people who've chosen to be anonymous, which you can do on eBird. And so I know there are a couple of people who have more birds than this, but they are too humble to show themselves. The other thing you can do is you can look at a specific year. So my big year here was in 2020. I can look here and see how I did that year. I held my own for a while, and then towards the end, I dropped down the list. And it looks like I must have not be showing in the top 100. I must have changed my profile, so I'm not showing. So here's my husband, George, with 304, which is what I had as well. So that's the top 100. We could also look and see who is the top ABA area birder for the year. That's like from the movie The Big Year and the book The Big Year. That's what the area that they are looking at, which is all of the United States and Canada and Hawaii. Topping the list are David and Tammy McQuaid. They have 713 species each. It looks like they must have been down in our area here pretty recently. Let's look at David McQuaid. He's got a little bio. You can find out a little bit more about him. And, sorry, about their journey, their birding journey through their profile. You can also look at the lower 48. They also cover the lower 48. You can look at all time and see what the records are for this time of year. A gentleman named Bruce Barrett got 871 species. Pretty remarkable for all time. So that's the top 100. I spend a lot of time there when I'm a more active birder. Yard totals. You can set up a yard list. So right now I have 2 yard lists going. I have one for the house that I lived in for 9 years in Camp Verde, and I have one for my current home. Let me show you how to set up a yard list. In order to set up a yard list, you must first have set up your home as a personal location. So the way you would do this is you would go to the Submit tab and you go to find it on a map. I'm going to go to Pima County. And then from there, I would zoom into where I live. I'm going to just choose a random location. I'm not far enough in. I'm going to delete this. So. And I would put in my house or whatever. You can put in your address. You could put in the name of your subdivision. You could say Casa of Birds, whatever you want to call it. And then you would hit continue, and then you would submit a list of birds, and then it would be an available location for you. Okay. So I'm not going to go ahead and do that right now. So once you have your home established as a personal birding location, you go to the Explore tab. Go to yard totals and set up a yard list. So from here, you would go in and I would pull up I'd go from my locations. I'd give it a name like Casa Kleindienst. And then I'm going to search my locations. And I could add as many different locations as I want, but I've only got one. And then I'm going to save the yard. And it's got to think about it because it's going to go through all of my lists for this location. So now here we have Casa Kleindienst. We can open that up a little bit. You can see I have 65 species on my life list. I've had one new species in the last year. Let me see what I'm looking at here. Here's my most recent checklist that we did during our Tuesday session of birds that I've seen this past month. Oh, here we go. So here's my life list for the yard. Here we were looking at this one, I'm sorry. Here's my life list for the yard. I've done 65 checklists. I've seen 57 species. My last added species was a pine siskin on April 2nd. For this year, I've reported 29 species, and for this month, I've reported 12 species. So that's how you add a yard list. Now you can compare your yard to other people's yards in your area. This right now is set to Arizona. And you can see some of these people have pretty substantial yard lists. Ken Lamberton in Mule Pass has 53 species. For a life period, this gentleman has 248 species for his home in the Chiricahua Mountains. Extremely remarkable. You can also set up what's called a patch list. Oh, here's patch totals. So with the patch list, you can pick several locations that you've created. So like I have a one for walking from home. And so these are all of the places that I've included. So my checklists that I've submitted from the Lakes at Castle Rock, from Isabella Lee Natural Preserve, from Beasley, and wait a minute, here's my walking from home, I'm sorry. I should be able to go and pull up. I apologize, because I should be able to just pull up the locations that I'm using for this. Let me show you how to add a patch. So let's call this Holly's patch, and you'll know what's behind this patch idea. So I can go here and I can put up all the places that I walk from my house. So I have my Brown Avenue and associated alleyways. I also have my home. I also walk at Isabella Lee Natural Preserve, which is a hot spot, not just a personal location. I bird at the Lakes at Castle Rock subdivision, which is a hot spot. And those are pretty much the places that I can walk to from my house. I also have a trail that I walk called Wrightstown Trail. And now I can save this patch. And what eBird is going to do is all the checklists that I've submitted for these 5 locations will be my patch, will be Holly's patch. So it's going to think of that about a minute. It's going to all of these locations through the huge, massive database. It's pulling up my sightings for these locations, and then it will populate. So here's Holly's patch. We can see I have 117 species, 64 for the year, 17 for the month. Oh yes, I remember. Okay, so here's my walking from home one again. I think we go here and we can see, here we can see all the locations that I included. I'm sorry, it took me a little bit to get to that. Looks a little bit different than the last time I was in here. So I use these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to create this patch. Now, if you get rid of a patch, the data from these checklists at these locations does not go away. The patch list and the yard list are just a way to bring together your own data in a way that you can look at it. So I can go here to Holly's patch and I can delete this. And the data that was in there has not gone away. I can get rid of this walking from home one. The data that is in the database won't go away. It just won't be all grouped together in a way that I can view it easily. So that's the patch list. Once again, you can go in and you can compare it to other people in Arizona. If you wanted to change it from Arizona to something more local, I could go here to region. I could change to Pima County and just compare my patch to other people's patches in Pima County. Of course, Molly Pollock is going to just beat me hands down again. And that's just the way that it goes. Okay, so we've been through the top 100 yard totals, patch totals. We already talked about eBird Essentials. This is one of the many, many courses offered by Cornell Lab of Ornithology Academy that you can take if you want to get better at submitting checklists. The whole class, the class is free. It's beautifully presented. It's broken into units. It takes like 3 to 4 hours to get through the whole thing. You can break that up over a few days. They've got nice videos. They've got great demonstrations. It's far more professional than what I'm giving you here today. So that's available to you right here. Merlin Bird ID, if you want to learn more about the Merlin Bird app on your phone, this is a good place to start. We may have time to do a quick demo of that today. But last of all, this is really fun, the photo and sound quiz. So let's go here to the photo and sound quiz. I really like to use a sound quiz if I'm going someplace where I am not familiar with the birds. So we had somebody who is going to be going to, let's just start here with Pima County, and we can see how we do right here. Let's go to Pima County. So those of you getting ready for the Southeast Arizona Birding Festival, we want to go for the likely birds. We want to choose when, because we want to do that for, let's see, next week during the festival. We'll pick August 10th. we're gonna go, we can choose, this is new. You used to do all possible birds and half the birds would come up as rare birds because that's what everybody takes photos of. Well, let's just do the likely birds, or let's do likely and infrequent. Because if you're a decent birder, a lot of the birds you see are infrequent birds. We're gonna look for photos and we're gonna take a photo quiz. So they're gonna give us 20 photos to look at. And in return, we're going to look at these photos and rate them. So it's a give and take thing again with eBird. We get to take the quiz and learn our birds better. And they get somebody to look at all these photos that they don't have the time and staff to look at and give them a rating on how good they are. Now, absolutely have to say this. Identifying birds from a photo is harder than identifying a bird in the field because you only get one look at the field marks and sometimes the photos are really, really, really bad, okay? So here we have this bird here. It's got speckles on the breast. It's got a funny bill. It's not a Western kingbird, I don't think. It's not a tropical kingbird, not a brown crested flycatcher. It's not a Cassin's kingbird. I'm gonna go none of the above. Sure enough, this is a sulfur belly flycatcher. Wouldn't you know they'd start us with a none of the above. Now, in order to go to the next question of 20, we have to rate this image. I think this is a pretty good image. It's close, it's in focus. We can see some identifying characteristics. I'm gonna give this one a 4, if not a 5. Here we've got another little bird. We got a little bit of a eyebrow here, short little bill, a hint of a wing bar. I'm gonna go Bell's Vireo for this one. Bing, 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 bing. It's a little bit out of focus. The bird fills up the frame nicely. This star rating is really subjective. You get to do it. So I'm gonna give this one, I'm gonna give it a good. I'll give it a 4 star. Here we got a bird with a rather pointy bill. It's wet, makes it kind of tricky. It's got a pretty Oriole-like bill. I'm gonna rule out bronze cowbird. I'm gonna rule out Bullock's Oriole. Scott's Oriole is a good possibility. I don't really have a good enough view to say for sure Scott's versus hooded, but I'm gonna go with Scott's. Nope, it's a Bullock's Oriole. So this would be a good learning moment where I would get out my bird guide and I would look at birds that are not male Bullock's Oriole and juvenile birds and find out more about how I can identify this bird. I'll give that one an average rating. This bird has got a nice little rufous cap. It's got a dark tail. I see some rufous underneath here. I don't see any black around the bill. I'm gonna go with Canyon Towhee. It's a little bit washed out, but otherwise a nice picture. We got some nasal bristles coming way down the nose on this bird. I'm gonna risk calling that a Chihuahuan raven. And I don't think that's a very good picture. Here's a pretty common bird for us. I'm gonna go with Cooper's hawk for that one. Here we've got us a little flycatcher with a yellowish wash and very dark on the head. Might be rufous here, might not. It's hard to say with the light. I'm gonna risk dusky cap flycatcher. That's a beautiful picture. I'm gonna give that one a 5. Here's a Gamble's quail, nice easy one. It's always nice to get a gimme bird. Here we got a funny little posture. We got a really wide mandible. We have no way to judge scale on this bird. It doesn't really have much of an eye ring here, which for me rules out Cordillera and flycatcher. It's got these kind of buffy little wing bars here that kind of blur together, which is something I often see in Western wood peewee. Definitely not a northern beardless tyrannulet. Could possibly be a greater peewee, but these wing bars, I don't think so. I'm gonna go Western wood peewee. And it's a greater peewee, that great big bill. So like I said, photos are tough, it's tough. There's a nice gimme bird. And we've got a ratterback woodpecker, kind of out of focus. We have a little ruddy ducky with her little tail poking out of the water. This is a really awful picture. It's really blurry. It's Pima County, so I'm gonna go with neotropic cormorant. The other thing about that last one, I don't think I can go back, but it had a timestamp on it. And that's something that Merlin, eBird really doesn't want to have in the photos in their library. So I would have clicked that had a timestamp so they would know that would be one that they wouldn't want to use for Merlin or for an illustrated checklist or something like that. Here we've got this little dark patch under the eye. This bird is really ruffled up. We're going to go none of the above and get a painted red start. The light's really bad on that, but I don't see any white in the scapulars. It's definitely a Buteo. It's not as rufous here as I would like for Harris's hawk. It is a Swainson's. And so on and so forth. Nice pale bird, white to yellow. We're gonna go west, nice white outer tail feathers. This looks like a very young tanager. I'm gonna go western because of the wing bars. There's our Harris's hawk. Looking fine. Here we have a nice cinnamon cap. We can't really see the bib or the spots very well. Just from habitat, I'm gonna go gilded flicker. So we got 17 out of 20 correctly. These are the ones we missed, and I can take another quiz. Now, when I'm going someplace where I've never been before, like I took a trip to Hawaii, if you sit down and you take about 20 quizzes and you choose the ones that are the likely and infrequent birds, very quickly you're going to get a feel for the birds that you're going to be seeing and see different photos of them from different angles and some of the things that might trip you up with identification. And it's really, really fun. So that is the quiz section on. Again, that was right down here. You can also do that with sounds. I'm not going to embarrass myself by doing that in public or on video. But yes, photo and sound quiz available for you. You can go any place that you want. For example, I've got a trip coming up in February where I'll be going to the Cayman Islands. I could put in Cayman, I can put in the specific island. I can go to Cayman Brac. I can go in there, I can choose February, a day in February that I'm going to be there, and I can look at the birds in that area and take a bunch of quizzes and get familiar with the birds. And really a lot of fun, very, very helpful. Okay, those were the primary things we needed to cover. And we have 7 minutes left. Do we have any questions, Donito?
You covered most of the questions. We do have a few people with a couple more locations and specific birds that I think we have a few minutes to do. So we'll just start at the top. Hindi, if I'm pronouncing that right, I hope so. Hindi is going up to the White Mountains and would like to see a blue grouse.
Oh yeah, okay, so blue grouse I believe is now ruffed grouse. So we can start out with a search for blue grouse. And we'll see nothing comes up. So let's try ruffed grouse. And here we have ruffed grouse. And here's a nice range map for the bird. So that's a good way to get a feel for it. So we could read more about it. I don't think on this, if you went here to All About Birds, it might be able to tell you that this was formerly blue grouse and I don't remember the other one that were lumped into ruffed grouse. So we could go to the Explore tab again. We could go to Explore a Species Map. We could put in ruffed grouse. And we can just narrow it down to Arizona. Get it to zoom in quite a ways for us. It's a tough bird for Arizona. So you can see there's no purple area here at all. So that is going to be a really tough bird to find. So not much luck of seeing one.
Yeah, good luck, Kendi. Let's go to James. James is going to be, this might be a little easier. He's going to go to Texas and Florida, and he's looking to find a painted bunting.
Oh, well, he ought to go to Arivaca Lake. Oh.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I've been there.
You don't have to go that far to get a painted bunting, but of course I don't know where he lives. So here we are close to home. To my home, I'm sorry, I have to say. We're going to zoom in a little bit. All right, down here you can see we've got some sightings. Here's some red ones. Arivaca Lake, just seen 2 days ago at Arivaca Lake. Just seen on the De Anza Trail at Clark Crossing Road. Just seen at Santa Gertrudis Lane. If you wanted to get to Santa Gertrudis Lane, you can click right here. It's going to bring you to that spot, and you can go right up here to map. It'll bring you, you can go to directions. It'll pop you out into Google Maps, and you can share that location to your phone and be on your way to go see that bird. Somebody else was going to go to the Dry Tortugas. That would be a great place to go to explore.
It's in Monroe County. It's, by the way, it's in Monroe County. If you want to, I looked it up.
That helps a lot.
Yeah. And she
Let's
was
go here to the hotspot map.
And I know Rhonda, when she was going there, she was specifically hoping to see, she didn't know which type of booby, but I think the two most common there are the brown and the masked booby.
The masked booby, yeah, that's a good one to see on the way there, if not right there. And you get to see a couple of noddies, mostly brown noddies, but occasionally a black noddy. So he turns, and here you can pull up all the birds. You can, there's 2 black noddies on this list from a few days ago. Roseate tern, that's a very nice bird to see. Wood stork, also excellent. Smooth-billed awny.
There was the brown boobies at number 11. We just scrolled past it. There we go.
Brown booby, yeah. Masked booby is the trickier one.
Oh, masked boobies 19.
19, very good. With a photo, how about that? Awesome bird. Okay, well, that about wraps this up. I don't think we're gonna have time to jump into Merlin, but that's your overview of the Explore tab basically you just get in there and start clicking buttons, and you'll take it down the rabbit hole, and the next thing you know, it'll be 2 hours later and you'll have a whole list of birds you want to see and a lot of places you want to go.
Excellent. So yeah, with that, I'd like to thank Holly, not just for today, but for Tuesday. I know personally I've learned a ton. I'm excited to set up my rare bird list, and I'm excited to set up my own patch list. So I hope y'all are excited about some specific things that you took. Once again, just want to thank everybody for being here. Your support of Tucson Audubon means a ton to us. And like I said, this will be recorded. If you missed anything, or if you want to go back and look at a specific section, this will be on our YouTube channel, along with all the other virtual events that we host as well. So with that, I'd like to thank Holly. If everybody would like to unmute and thank Holly, I think she would appreciate it a lot.
Everybody, thanks for joining me.
Thank you, Holly.
You bet.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'll see you guys out birding.
Yes, thank you so much. Very
Take
helpful.
care, everybody. Happy
Bye.
birding. All right, bye-bye.